camera isn't up. Here we go. I'll just sort that now. Welcome, guys, to the STPL. Hopefully, I managed to fix that quick enough. I just need to turn on Rapid as well. Apparently, he's not showing, but Rapid's here, so the party's all back.
That's right. Hopefully I'm out there. I'm not totally invisible, although I wish I was because I'm having a bad hair day today. But it's good to be back with some amazing games and even amazing players and even amazinger viewers. So big thanks to all 22 people for watching. Then we were hitting like 500 viewers for BSL the other day,
Yes, it's
and
kind of
most of that
insane.
audience was from South America, but also a lot of love from Europe and North America as well. So wherever you are, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to spread the word. Tell your other friends that there is a sick, awesome Brood War tournament going on. The players are just as good as well. So yeah, it's going to be good, and things are heating up as we near the end of round 4 kicks.
We do. It's getting kind of crazy as well. I mean, one thing I'll just quickly throw up on screen is actually the rankings from Group A. This is the group we're going to be starting with. Now, it may look a little bit one-sided at the moment with IRK and NaS up in front, but if they lose their next 2 games, both of them will be playing this week, I think, and obviously week 7 is the last one of round 4, then maybe White Clan and Net Wars have a chance to push back. But when you actually look at the win rating of IRK and NaS, it's pretty insane. Like, IRK are 15-1 and NaS are 14-3.
Yeah, so NaS is kind of the surprise for me. NaS, IRK, and White Clan like all together. White Clan and Net Wars, though, I think the biggest surprises though, because how are they not like number 1 and number 2, right? Like these guys are monsters. Like they should always be in the top 2. But instead, IRK have really surged this season, and NaS is right up there with them. So another big kind of surprise is Red, who were just top 4 last season and now 1 and 3. So some changes there,
Yeah.
of course.
And if we just have a quick look at the player table as well, I don't think you've seen it yet, Rapid, but we've gone over to an ELO system. So we've got a proper rating system now for the SCPL.
Yeah, what
And
is
there's
up
the
with
top
that?
10.
How do you do this? What?
This was all Radley. Like, I managed to do the stuff for the screen, but Radley did everything behind the scenes. And
He's like, by the way, I can
yeah,
calculate an ELO system? What?
yeah, it's pretty
That's so
cool.
crazy.
Yeah, here's the ELO system. We've got Noob, Yeti Scan, Koga Ho, Eon Zerg, who's going to be one of our players here, DeWalt, TT1, and Dragon and Terror as well in the top 10. So pretty sick to see them all here. And even though we changed the rating from wins to like wins over losses, which I had before, Yeti, like at first when I changed this, we managed to make a little bit of a mistake and it wasn't counting ace matches. So Yeti went from like his first and second position all the way down to like 8th. Bradley fixed it, and suddenly Yeti was back in second again. So nothing's gonna knock Yeti down from his top spots, man. That's just where he belongs.
Indeed. Well, I think the thing that's kind of surprising to me is not that Noob, Scan, and Yeti are in the top 3, but this TT1 guy, 11-1. I think
Yeah,
statistically the best record out of maybe most of those players up there, because he
yeah,
only has 1 loss. So that's actually really crazy. But we are doing it off of ELO, not just wins and losses. So
yeah.
he does come out here to do a little bit of professional rat slaying every once in a while. So it's not like he's capable of beating absolutely the best players, but he has taken some games off of a lot of the top ones out there. So either way, regardless, we are going to see NaS and NaS play today, and then I think that's the only one of the teams of the players that are on this top 10 ranking. They've
Yeah.
got 3 of them, so they will be playing momentarily.
Yeah, so if we actually have a look at who's going to be playing here, we're going to have NaS versus Red as our first one in terms of total matches won. NaS and Red are very close together, 18 for NaS, 15 for Red. Now, head-to-head, they have met once before in the SCPL. This was all the way back in round 2, where Red took down NaS in a pretty close series. So let's see if things are going to go a little bit differently. Obviously, Red this time, compared to NaS statistically, I mean, NaS have gone unbeaten. Red, unfortunately, are 1 for 3, so they are pretty much out of the runnings of making it into this season's playoffs. But still, Red could definitely go for another win here against NaS.
Yeah, absolutely. I think NaS, honestly, this might be their year. They've got a sick roster. They play the strongest version of it almost every week. And Red, man, I believed last season or last round was their round. This round maybe not so much, but we'll see if
Yeah.
they can come back and make it.
Yeah, and speaking of rosters, we're going to be starting off with a ZVP between Eon Zerg and Fisheye. We're going to go into a PvP between Batorsai and Talent. We're going to head into a TBT between Terra and Cryok. And then we're going to have a ZVP between Dragon and Horotos.
Yep. I think honestly the first match should be maybe the best one. Terra and Cryok though might be pretty even, and I don't know Horotos too much, although we did get a
Yeah.
chance to watch him a couple weeks ago. So yeah, I just really want to watch Jan Zerg play. This guy is. I'm so sad that he was unceremoniously eliminated by bleeping Nyokin in BSL, and so now I
and
don't
he
get to watch
was
Jan Zerg play anymore. But he is still here in STPL.
Yeah, I think this is possibly going to be one of the most one-sided matches, like our first one, just because
Really?
Eonzerg, like, when you think about it, the last time Eonzerg and Bonneth met each other, both games Eonzerg won within 7 minutes. So if Bonneth is going to struggle, when arguably Bonneth is one of the top 3 foreigners of like recent times, Fisheye is going to have a little bit of a problem here, but hopefully we're going to have a relatively cool match. Now let's actually have a look at the player history screen. I actually just changed this over the weekend to show all the previous ELOs up and down, so you can see there's going to be a lot of green there for Eon Zerg because he is on an absolute tear with a ton of wins and very few losses.
Yeah, honestly, you can just completely cover up all of those statistics with a giant green up arrow. Like,
Yeah.
Eon Zerg is the upvote here. Yeah, okay, he took a couple of losses versus White Clan. It's like, oh no. Big surprise. They're one of the best teams, some of the best players out there. But damn, Eon Zerg, what have we got? Let's find out how he's gonna do in game number 1. And for Fisheye, man, I don't know. It's not as much green out there. Not as much greenery.
Yeah, Fisheye has struggled a little bit historically. The good thing is, as well, you can see when the games are actually played. So you'll note that Fisheye hasn't really played all that much recently. He played his first game since November, March this year. That was last week. He actually beat Jax in a PvP. So maybe Fisheye's new and improved, yet to be discovered. But if we have a look at our first map, we'll see exactly how things look to pan out here as we go into La Mancha. Now, La Mancha, a really, really fun map, one of the most standard maps we've had in the SCPL. I know there's a lot of controversy about it because it kind of looks like a windmill in the middle. Yeah, windmill. But, yeah, okay, so La Mancha is a really cool 4-player map. Zerg are 3 for 1 against Protoss at the moment. I mean, Eon Zerg took down Jax, Kenzie took down First and Talent as well, and Dark took down Hinamu, so that's kind of where we get the stats for that from, but I think it's best if we just get into game number 1 and see how Fisheye can do against Eon Zerg. Okay, and starting us off here in the top right hand position, we do have the blue Protoss fighting for red. It's Fisheye.
I was actually so scared. I was doing BSL the other day, and I do the intros first in BSL, and I haven't cast STPL in so long that I was like, wait, do I do the intros first? I had no idea, Kix. You just saved my life.
Yeah,
so,
I jumped in. That's cool.
Yeah, his opponent in the bottom right-hand side of the map in the orange is Zerg is Eon Zerg. Good luck to my man Eon Zerg and all of the other players playing the Impossible Challenge, which is Rustbrain's $1,000 contest. See who can win 11 games in a row above 2K MMR on the Korean server while streaming. It is crazy, but good luck to...
True Touch got to 7 today, and then Seriosity was in Discord like, hey guys, everyone come watch this. And the second he posted the link, he lost. So it's like, whoops.
Who did he wind up losing to?
I don't know. I didn't actually have a chance to watch. I was on the train, and I just saw the link go up, and then Seri was like, oh, never mind.
Oh, well. I feel for those guys. I think Eon Zerg's made it up to 8, I think. Or was it also 7? I don't know,
I
but
think
they're all
Eon made it
monsters.
to 8 first day, and he lost to Miso, and then he
Yeah,
hasn't
well, he
made it
beat
that
me
far
so like
since.
2 or 3 games before, and then he lost to him again. It's like, how many times do you got to beat these pro gamers? So excited to have Eon Zerg out here in Korea for a little bit. But anyway, let's get back into it. Talk about the exciting early game. Oh my God, Kicks, Eon Zerg is not scouting correctly. How could he? We're
Well,
hyping him up,
yeah,
and there he goes.
Eon Zerg is he's playing 9 pool. That doesn't surprise me whatsoever. There's going to be a drone scout now. Fisheye is actually building his gateway in his base, so he's not going to be walling his natural. He's probably going to go for a 2-gate here after this Cybercore. Now, there is weird Dragoon all-ins you can go for, but it almost feels like he's not playing against Zerg, which is going to be the interesting thing, and seeing exactly how he's going to be able to deal with Eon Zerg's early link shenanigans.
Yeah, early Ling shenanigans are maybe not even the worst of his worries, because Eon's even crazier with like this 2-hatch Muta or 3-hatch Hydra play that you can go up to. But we're not going to see that this time around. I'm just kind of waiting to see kind of what
Eon
path this game takes.
Eon went and checked, and there was no wall there, so he just assumed his opponent wasn't in that position. That's kind of
Yeah,
funny.
I'm so sad about that. Like come on, you got. Yeah, well, I mean, we should use this opportunity to point that out. Fisheye is not pyloning on the low ground. That's
Yeah.
just weird, right? Because in theory, you should want to get out of fast Nexus versus Zerg, because they can't. You have good options in the form of like Gateway, fast expand, or Forge fast expand. But now he's gonna try to bust up this ramp, and I'm sorry, but no Zerglings allowed here unless they glitch through, which they do. No! Oh, the scary Zerglings.
Yeah.
Break through the probe wall, and now it's utter tragedy with 2 probes going down.
Yeah, Eon Zerg, his lings, I don't know, they just get into places they shouldn't do. There was 3 probes at the top of the ramp with the Zealot. It wasn't enough to defend. Now, there is going to be a single Dragoon out here with the Zealot even. And that shouldn't be too much of a problem, but it's the additional lings coming in. Speed is not going to be on the way for a while, so it's just been mass drones behind this from Eon. But with these lings, he can do critical damage almost, depending on how the micro from Fisheye is.
Well, I mean, I would not say Fisheye's micro is terrible, but looking at this Dragoon control, he's doing a really good job kiting off those Zerglings. Basically only loses shields, and now that they're in the mineral line, I always hate this from Zerg players. They send their lings right into the mineral line, and then they lose them to probes like turning around and attacking them, because it's easy to kind of grab all your probes and just click on them. But now another great Dragoon control moment there, using it to tank the lings and letting the Zealots kill them. So sick. In the end, everything's cleaned up, but at the same time, this is a Protoss without a natural expansion, Kicks.
Yep, just a quick huge thank you to Tokyo about, or for the host even. And yeah, it's going to be 1 base Protoss against 2 base Zerg, getting a 3rd hatchery at the natural with a sunken colony as well. So, oh, he's actually going into a robo straight away, going to go into a shuttle behind this and go into double gateway. I wonder if he's going to maybe go for a Reaver Dragoon push. Yeah, looks like he is. So, robo support mate coming in behind this shuttle is obviously already on the way. And the Hydra Den is about halfway done too.
Yeah, Hydra Den coming through, and I'm glad that Eon isn't choosing to expand to another base. So if you look at his base architecture, it might look like ZBT, but he's just saying, okay, well, if my opponent's only on 1 base and he stays that way, I'm good, right? So 2 base Zerg might want to go up to 3 later, but he's okay against a 1 base Protoss here. And honestly, the scary thing about 1 base Protoss is whatever it is that they're doing, whether it's DT shenanigans or in this case Reavers coming out. Reaver's about halfway done. I think with Hydra's maybe about to pop here, I mean, he's going to be pretty good against those, right?
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is talking about the architecture of their bases, it's almost like we're watching a Protoss play PvT and a Zerg play ZBT. So it's kind of like not what you'd ever expect to happen now. Is as long as he gets, or at least goes for speed for a shuttle, he shouldn't really have too many problems with the Hydralisks. But even then, there's not actually that many Hydras out at the moment. There's a decent number of units on the ground. Obviously with this first Reaver coming out, the Scarabs could be good depending on how that goes. Obviously this is relatively all in here for Fisheye. If he can't do a very good amount of damage, if he loses the shuttle with the Reaver, it's most certainly going to be game over, because this is pretty much every single unit he has. So it looks like the Hydra's going to be able to chase the shuttle away, but the units coming up, what's the Scarab going to be like? Nice pullback from Eonzerg. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah. No. Apparently, good Reavers are good Reavers, man. So that's already 3 down, and he's gonna drop the
Oh,
Reaver
no.
again. Oh, bad Scarab. No. All right. Well,
that's pretty much
how
it.
about that game 2, Kicks?
Yeah, I don't usually like calling things too early, but Eon come in from a flank there, gets both, all 3 of the Zealots, the Dragoon and the Reaver. Obviously, Fisheye is going to have Reavers at the top of his ramp, so it's going to make it a little bit harder for Eonzerg to counter, but it doesn't really matter. Eonzerg has got a really, really big lead now. He's actually ahead in supply, and that's not something you normally see at this stage in the game in PvZ.
Yes, no, that is definitely not. Well, I mean, I don't know what to say, Kicks. I think the biggest thing to worry about is obviously the Hydra's immediate threat, but afterwards, it's like, well, how do you ever take a natural? So there's just so much craziness here. Obviously, you don't want to break up a ramp with Reavers on top of it. That just does not sound like a great idea. But I think especially if this shuttle goes across the map and dies again, that could also be another way that Eonzerg would win the game.
Yeah, now this is actually quite worrying. It looks like Eonzerg's going to see the shuttle coming out, possibly. Yeah, there we go, Fisheye flying over it, and that should indicate to Eonzerg that there's going to be nothing at the top of this ramp. If he chooses to go in, he's going to be able to do critical damage, but here we go, the Reaver dropping down in the mineral line.
Indeed it is. Okay, all right. There's some damage. Some more. Okay. This is like a decent Reaver attack here. He kills most of the drones in the natural, only getting away with like 5 or 6.
Oh,
but at the same time, Eon now knows, where the shuttle is, and I think this might be the... no, just pick it up and turn around. Yeah, okay, he drops the Scarab off. Yeah, this is actually really intelligent play there by Fisheye. But he does still need to use the Reaver back home to bust out and get a base. That's what he's doing right now. But hey, Eonzerg has that shuttle controlled, and has an Overlord right on top of it. So unless he goes Scouts or Corsairs or something, he's going to be stuck there.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to get through, but he should know that he's fully surrounded, and if he loses the shuttle, there's definitely no recourse. Oh my god, he's actually going to try and drop the Reaver against this. Does manage to get one Scarab. He gets one Scarab off, but it's just not worth it. But looks like he really wants to try and save this. The other Reaver waddling down from the top. The shuttle goes down. The humanity, the tragedy. Oh, the humanity is what I meant to say. But there we go. Looks like the Hydra is going to be able to take out these Zealots. And this other Reaver is just kind of marooned in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's not a terrible place to have a Reaver with that much Zealot support, but you do have to be careful, and I just can't emphasize enough, like, whatever Fisheye does doesn't matter because he needs a base up. Yeah. This feels like, I don't know, yeah, you just really got to expand, man. And I get that he wants to play like an aggressive one-base style, but no, not anymore. We gotta move on.
Yeah, now the funny thing is there, if you think about it, if he had that other Reaver from the shuttle and managed to save it, he'd be in a much better position right now, but he's built another shuttle instead of another Reaver. The Hydras are going to push in. Just look at how many units that Eonzerg actually already has. There's 2 Zealots sort of stuck out in the middle of nowhere, and he doesn't have speed for them either, so they're not going to be able to close the distance. And here we go, the Hydra's going to go in. Looks like they are going to be able to force a pickup.
No, yeah, really good pickups on that Reaver, but the problem is there's not actually shooting. So yeah, there it is, GG. Wow. I think your GG came up like seconds before my GG, so I don't know about that. But anyway, my point is, Kicks, that was a very good game by Eonzerg. He knew exactly what he had to do, and he did it every single turn. He caught the Reavers, he killed the shuttles. Yeah, really well played.
I mean, to me, that's just kind of almost a stereotypical Eonzerg game. He just has a perfect early game. Micro as well. He took a load of damage drone-wise, but he killed 2 shuttles with Reavers in, and when you're going for 1 base, that's something you just can't afford to lose. And obviously that's going to take us into game number 2. When we get back after this very short break, it's going to be Batorsai versus Talon PvP. Okay guys, welcome back to the STPL. My name is Kix. We're here for round 4's penultimate week. Penultimate week. I said the wrong word, but I don't think that's the word. Either way, we've got 1 week left after this from round 4. Then we're going to be heading into the round 4 playoffs. So things are heating up here. We're in our current series, which is NaS versus Red. This is going to be a very important series for NaS to win, because if they can win here, they will guarantee themselves a spot in the round 4 playoffs.
Yeah, round 4 playoffs are coming up, and so wait, explain this to me, Kix. What happens when round 4 playoffs end? Do you take the top teams from all 4 playoffs and then have them play in a playoffs?
Okay, so I think the last time I explained this was back in round 1, but basically every playoff, and that was a year ago as well, every single playoff, the top 4 teams, which are the teams in the playoffs, get qualification points. So the first team get 5 points, second get third, or 3 even, third get 2, and then fourth get 1. So depending on whether or not we're going to have 8 qualified teams after these playoffs, we'll either have the top 4 or the top 8 in the grand final playoffs. So that's going to be another single elim tournament. It's going to be seeded based on the results and everything, so we're going to have the top 2 teams fighting each other and whatnot in round 1, and the winner of that overall takes the overall championship. But it's been a long time coming.
Yes, it certainly has been. Okay, just wanted to take that opportunity to clear things up there.
It is confusing.
Because people have forgotten over the course of 1 year of STPL. So
yeah.
I am ready to get into our next game though.
Yeah, so let's quickly have a look at our history for both of our players, just to see how they've been doing. Now, starting us off here for NaS is going to be Batorsai. He's actually been doing okay recently. He's been kind of one of the mainstays of NaS. I mean, this only shows his last 10 games, but it dates all the way back to April 2018, so he's not played all that many games. He kind of subs in when necessary, but he's actually beaten some pretty decent players throughout his time here. Like his game versus Cast was really good on Katrina, and he's doing pretty well on the MMR front as well. ELO.
I mean, it's ELO is a type of MMR, so you can say that.
Yeah. Well, his opponent for Red, was just going to be Talent. So Talent's one of the newer players for Red now. According to this, he has no wins, but I think I know what's happened. So he's actually only played 2 games. My overlay's bugged, so that's something I didn't notice when I was doing all my testing this weekend, but that'll be fixed by Wednesday. So all is good, because basically when you're looking at his 2 losses, he played against Kenzie and Telecom. You can't really tell too much from that. He has played a PvP that was against Telecom, so let's see how he's going to do in this one. We're going to be heading in to Neo Medusa as our next map here. Now that is one of the maps on ladder these days. It's also going to be in KSL Season 3, so you'll definitely see a lot more of it. It's one of my favorite maps from the 2008 even Pro League. It was a really, really fun map to watch games on. We've only had 1 PvP here so far, and as it's a mirror match, there's not really too much we can go into other than the fact there's a lot of airspace.
Yeah, I think that's mostly the only thing. It's a 3-player map, so that's kind of cool. And if you want to take the base between the bases, it's very long by ground.
Yeah. So let's get in to game number 2. Let's see, Talent versus Batorsai. Starting us off here in the top right-hand position, we do have the Peach Protoss fighting for NaS. It's Batorsai.
That's right, Kix, and his opponent is Talent in the blue on the left-hand side of the map. Now, this is not blue, right? This is like light blue. This is the color of hallucinations.
Yeah.
Have I ever seen this color before?
You definitely have. I'm certain.
Really?
Yeah,
I look at the... Is this like the least common Brood War color?
Green probably is, but that's because green is like the... I think green is player 5 or player 8 or 9 or something. I was speaking to One of the people at BlizzCon this year was the guy who makes SCM Draft, and I spoke to him a lot about all these random things, because he knows everything. Like, he is... Like, people think Freakling knows a lot, but the guy who makes SCM Draft, man, he has got the most insane knowledge. Apparently Freakling goes to him with all of his bug fixes and things that he wants done,
Nice.
so it's all good.
Well,
But,
anyway,
yeah,
this might actually just be regular blue, and I could be totally dumb, but it looks different to me.
it definitely does not look as dark as it normally does, so I'm sure it's a different shade of blue. I'm almost certain. It might just be maybe
Okay.
the lighting on the map or something.
Oh yeah, maybe it is that, because it's not just the ground titles. Isn't there like a filter on? I don't know. Anyway, but this is a Twilight map, so it's gonna look different anyway. So what's happening? This tiny little probe is down here, ready to make a Nexus.
12 next?
Going Nexus first. He's going Nexus first. I knew it. All right. Well, it scouted instantly, so good luck, buddy.
Is this TT1? 12 next?
Dude, I know. I was about to say that. So TT1 does this dumb cannon into Forge, or Nexus into cannons strat, which is, by the way, the dumbest. But Batosai's going for a gateway here. So this is, by the way, Batosai, not how you do the builds. I don't know what he's got in store.
Yeah, this is like the new form of 12 next. He's actually going to go 2 gateways behind this. Now, the funny thing about that is because, although his first gateway is delayed, because he's getting the second one so quickly, because Talent has to kind of retroactively go for 2 gate, it means he's actually going to be fine. 2 gate against 2 gate, obviously going to favor him. He's going to be like 1 unit behind, I think, by the time all the gates kick in. So, I mean, it's not the most efficient way of playing, but his economy is going to pick up pretty quickly. And he's going to have 2 gateways worth of production against 2 gate. How can you ask for anything better than that?
I have no idea. Well, I mean, I guess you could ask for, cannons, right? That would be better, according to TT1 at least. I'm not going to stop memeing that guy. Anyway, damn, this is the sickest start you could ask for, right? 12 next should... I mean, I feel like it should be impossible in PvP. Like, at least in ZVZ, there's ways to get early hatcheries down. It's not like it's totally unheard of to get an early hatchery. Maybe not a hatchery first, but you get the idea, right? But in PvP, I feel like Nexi are just even harder to get. And so for Talent, maybe he's got a little bit of a burden on his side. He does have a Dragoon, which is a unit that fires at range, which is something that Batosai doesn't know about yet.
Well, he does now, because his Zealots actually engage in the
No, I mean, like, he can't build it.
Oh, yeah, that's fair enough. But he's also going for Forge, so he is going for those cannons.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. Okay. I mean, I feel like he might actually need a little bit more than that, because now all you do is pump Dragoons out of 2 gateways, get range, and then, at some point, something has to kill that.
Yep, I mean, the Zealots are doing a really good job of actually delaying the Dragoons from just pushing across the map and killing
Dragoon?
them. They might have done, but he's changed. He's trying to focus down the shields, I think, but that's not really going to help him. But here we go. Looks like we do have the first 4 cannons coming in at the front. Now, this is where the cannon thing gets a little bit weird, because if you think about it, that's 4 cannons that aren't gateways, aren't units, and they are going to help you a little bit later on, but obviously he will have the ultimate protection against DTs. Reavers shouldn't really be able to do too much, but Reavers obviously outrange cannons. But then when you look at Marine the other day for Psy, you didn't see the game, but basically Psy Marine on Great Barrier Reef couldn't get his Reaver to fire against cannons because of the angle, and you never know. Like, we're not sure what's going to happen here. Obviously, Talent's not going to be able to push in, so he's going to have to retroactively expand, or maybe go for like mass shuttle drop into the main and just kind of circumvent the cannons, or just break down the temples. But that'll take forever.
Yeah, that's definitely one way to do it. I guess we should talk about that. We didn't talk about that during the map preview. Is that you can actually break down these temples, which allows you access to the back of your opponent's base. The downside is that they are stacked temples, right?
Yep, they're stacked. There is tons of them as well. So I was playing a ladder game the other day against Zerg, and I was like, I'll just break through this with Marines. 10 minutes later, I was still breaking through. So yeah,
there's like, I think 8 stacked 1500 temples, if I'm not mistaken, but it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you can see there that obviously when the first temple dies, it just gets replaced with another one. Now, if there was Splash, the one below would actually have less health. But here we go, looks like Talon going to try and push in. Looks like range is finished. But you're not going to be able to fight those cannons. And then he's going to go back to the temple.
This looks so comical, and at this point, honestly, you should just expand again.
Yeah.
Like, there's no possible way Batosai will ever be able to leave his base for the foreseeable future. And if you have to invest this much in just getting a faster Nexus, like, I don't know, like, I believe. Let's find out if it's worth it or not.
I mean, back here we've got 3 gateways coming in for Batosai, so he is going to be able to build Dragoons, but if you think his first Dragoons have only just now finished, and he's up against 10 Dragoons of his opponent. There goes another temple. He's still going to be going at this for a while. And the ironic thing is, even if he breaks down the temple, it's really actually difficult to get the Dragoons to go through these minerals. It causes like a weird pathing thing with bigger units, and Dragoons are obviously a pain to get through anywhere anyway. So let's see exactly how this is going to go. Boom goes another temple, and he's still carrying on.
Just confirmed it's a 10 temple stack of 1500 HP temples, so, you know, that's just quite a few. I think he may be through 5 of them by now, maybe 6?
Yeah, it's kind of funny, the longer he spends doing this, his Dragoon count's getting higher and higher, and he's like, every time the temple dies, the next one dies a little bit quicker, because like a few more Dragoons show up. But looks like we are going to have a robo facility coming in back at home. Another temple going down. Anyone keeping count?
B2 watches this, and it's like watching, like, I don't know, cavemen cut down a tree with rocks. Like,
the probe.
He's just like, what are they doing? What is that probe doing?
It just ran past like 15 Dragoons and only took 2 shots because the Dragoons were so focused on the temple. And here we go, looks like Batosai is going to try and move out of his base and see if he can break through the Dragoons. What is Talon's reaction's going to be? Let's see if he can pull his Dragoons back. Here we go. And Batosai somehow has a bit of concave to start the fight off, but here we go, looks like Talon is going to have a lot more numbers, and Batosai is going to run back to his cannons.
While you were breaking through Protoss temples, I steadied the blade.
Oh my god. Is Batosai going to put cannons at the top of this ramp with the temple?
Dude, you gotta! Like, so first of all, you spend a million years breaking through these temples, then you break through these temples, there's 8 more cannons there!
Well, there's 5 gateways back in Talon's base. Nexus is finally up and running, but obviously that's a lot later than his opponent. He's gone for obs as well, because he's not quite sure what his opponent's doing as of yet. He has to break through the rest of the temples to do that, but he's kind of abandoned that for now. I think he's actually just thought, nope, you know what, I'm not going to break through these. But the ironic thing is, he's getting pretty close, so he should probably go back to breaking through. And there's the triple expand.
You say that, but I feel like that's like, you know, the big brother that tells his little brother to stick his tongue to a flagpole. It's just like, okay, Kix, yeah. Tell the guy to go break through the last 12 temples. Like, okay, yeah. That... I mean, it's such a bad idea to do without splash damage. It's just realistically, you can, if you start attacking it with units that don't have splash damage, by the time you build a unit with splash damage, the unit with splash damage would be able to break through them faster. I don't know. Nope. Also, all these Dragoons are not doing anything, by the way, Kix. So
yeah, that's why killing the temples isn't necessarily a bad thing. Oh, well, Batosai is going to break the temples. Okay.
Why is Batosai breaking through the temple? That's absolutely. Wait.
I think he wants to go for a counter. Now, if Talon was listening, he would have heard that temple under attack from his base. But the Observer going to come in and see it anyway. Oh, this is why he's actually going for a Templar Archives. So maybe he was finding sneaky thieves. And we've got Zealots here now. They're going to help break down the temples a little bit quicker. Although it's kind of funny how they're stalemating over the temple. Like, both sides want to technically break it, but neither want to let the other player out. So yeah, they're both going to sit back now. Talon is the one with the base advantage now. He does have that 3rd base up. Not quite running as of yet, but it should be running fairly soon. And we still don't actually have any advanced tech here for Talon. So he's going to go into a Citadel and the Templar Archives himself. So we're going to have Storm versus Storm here as we get through the game. And the Observer goes down for Talon.
Well, that's pretty big. It means you won't be able to have any high ground vision at the very least, or I mean scouting. But Talon's got 3 bases up behind this. 3 base Protoss versus 2 base. We all know how that goes. Even with Storm, we're also getting legs and +1. We're just getting to the kind of the next level. But I actually think this game might be decided by Storm drops. Because you can just come. Actually, there's good Dragoon spreads for Batosai. Although Talent, yeah, has nothing defending his probes. So if those get storm dropped, then good luck, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a decent spread of pylons, so at least he's going to know when the units are coming in. Obviously, if they go around the top right of the base, of the map even, it's going to be a little bit hard to see those. There's going to be no observer up there to spot for it. But I think Talent is in such a good position right now, he's not entirely that worried. Now, there is going to be a Templar being lifted up, he's going to wait for another one, and he is going to go for that Storm Drop with a DT, it looks like, as well. Now, Talent doesn't actually have that many probes, so I've just realized he's kind of not got perfect saturation in any of his bases. He's doing a relatively good job to actually rebuild them at least to sort of get his mining up. But here we go, the top right of the map completely undefended, and there's going to be a shuttle coming in here with double High Templar.
That's exactly what I was talking about. I'm just gonna watch my predictions come true. Wait, is there nothing defending here? Are the High Templar going to storm everything? No, they don't move or do anything. Kill me, Kicks. What is happening on my screen?
Well, you're watching High Templar chilling out in the top right. There is one with full energy. Now, I think the shuttle actually went down, which is a big, big mistake by Betorsai. And Talon is going to be able to clear both those up. He should just probably storm when he can, but it's going to die to a cannon. Well, I mean, he nearly got the probes coming back in. That was almost the perfect storm, but unfortunately it was a little bit mistimed.
Yeah, and there are a crazy amount of probes there, so I feel like that could have just been the end of the game. But instead, we're now still watching a 3-base Protoss versus a 2-base Protoss.
Yeah.
Why are there no Reavers at this point?
Like, well, it's a 3-base versus 3-base now.
Okay, yeah, and now, but anyway, the Reavers are like my like go-to. You run them out there, you get off a Scarab, you run back, and like your Protoss opponent just has to like either commit or run away.
Yeah, now it looks like Talon's actually going to go for a 4th base here as well. He's just macroed up behind this. He's not too worried. Talon is actually patrolling with a Zealot around the bottom left of the map to make sure no other things go through there. And Talon's setting himself up really nicely. He's just making sure that Betorsai can't actually leave his base. Which, at the end of the day, is what wins you the game, because if you can just kind of mass expand behind this and block Betorsai in forever, you're eventually just going to have the upgrade advantage, you're going to get the tech advantage as well. I mean, Talon is up on 2 Forges against 1. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Forge advantage. Yeah. Also getting a 4th base, so, you know, like, that was, Also, wait, okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, Kicks, but is not the color of blue that Talent is also the same color as the neutral Protoss temples?
Yeah. On the minimap.
Okay, well that's also not helping me out at all, so thanks, Talent.
Okay, well there we go, we got a DT dropping off on this Nexus. This means this Nexus is not going to finish, and this High Templar going to come in, actually drop in range of the cannon. Gets a good storm though, 7 kills, 8 kills on that High Templar. Ooh. And there's a DT here as well, and there's no detection in the main.
Wait, how is there no detection in the main? No, there's an observer there.
There is now, yeah. It just popped out the robo. But ironically, he kind of has to move all the probes away. So, yeah,
I mean, not really. I guess he could have just sacked a couple and let the rest of the army kill it, but this is so weird. This game is like the strangest PvP I've ever seen. But I still don't think there's any world where Batosai ever gets out of
there
base.
We go. Looks like we are going to see a push attempt by Batosai getting stormed.
Yeah.
And yeah,
get out.
Talon has got way too many units out here, but there are a lot of Zealots going to get on top of the High Templar. But that DT's in the main. It's got 2 kills now. It's going to go for the Forge as well. The Observer has been sent elsewhere. Going to have to be sent back, so maybe the Forge is...
He just built another Observer.
Oh, he did, yeah.
He's also got a second Observer now flying in.
Oh,
so
I thought I just lost the
die.
full High Templar, full energy High Templar. Full High Templar. Fun times. This is definitely a weird game, not gonna lie.
I mean, what do you do? Like at this, I don't know if the best idea is just to go to endgame like tech. I mean, we're still getting ground upgrades, so I guess that is how this game will be fought and played. But I don't understand how that works well for Batosai.
Yeah, eventually you're just not going to be able to get out your base ever. So, yeah, the bank of Batosai is really, really high right now. He's actually up at 1200 minerals. He is maxed, whereas Talon isn't, so maybe there is a world where he can push out, but he's got so many units in his natural choke that they're all bugging out all over the place. Like, the Zealots don't have any room to stand, they're all dancing. Maybe if they spent less time dancing and more time breaking out the base, maybe something good had happened, but right now there's not really too much he can do.
Well, I feel like there's not really been too much he could do basically all game long. I mean, Talon's just going to take every game on the or every base on the map, and then he's just going to have infinite supply of units that will inevitably bludgeon Batosai to death. So the only thing that Batosai could do is theoretically get up like a late game like god comp, like just 50 carriers, just like I don't know, an army of a million DTs or Reavers or something like that, and then go across the map and win the game. But neither player's doing any of that, nothing at all. So I don't know, man. There's a couple of High Templars getting dropped off in the main. Storm. Oh, he storms the movement path, but all the probes get away without dying. So
Yep, probes are pretty good units. Thing is, there's not really too much else to say. Obviously, this isn't the most exciting game. Batosai is doing a really good job defending, but he's not really able to push out. Talon isn't really able to push in. He's actually at a 30 supply deficit. Looking at how things are, I think if Batosai pushes, he actually breaks. And he's actually the one with the bank as well. Obviously, Talon has a lot more bases, but what good are bases if you don't have anything mining? And there is a High Templar from Batosai in the main of his opponent, so... And there's another one going into the natural.
oh, the probes are gonna kill the High Templar.
There we go. Oh, and the High Templar drops out in the top right and gets no storm off because he has no energy, so...
What am I watching, Kix? Like, is this StarCraft? Could I type the name of this game with one hand on the left side of my keyboard? I don't know about that. Well, here comes this High Templar again.
Oh, that's a nice
storm. Okay, all right. I feel you.
That was actually a really sick storm. He gets 10 kills with that one High Templar, so that's certainly something. Now, is now the time to actually just go and break the temples? I guess the trouble is, you run the risk of... Oh, is he going to try and glitch the Archons down the... Okay. This is not a fight you'd often see. Archons on the high ground, Archons on the low ground. Neither can hit each other.
This is like that Spider-Man meme where Spider-Man sees himself. Where they're both like facing off, but there's this temple in the way. It's like, well, I've got an Archon. Well, I've got an Archon.
Here we go, Batosai's going for a break. Let's see if he can break through. A lot of the units of Talon are actually out of position. They are both maxed now. Upgrades 3-1 for Batosai, 2-1 for Talon. So let's see if Batosai can break. Great storms, though, on all of the High Templar, all of the Zealots.
This disgusts me, Kix.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is just watching a complete and total slaughter. Like, the sheep comes up and he like nuzzles the rail gun up against his head. He's like, "Aw, what is this? Is this a friend?" And then he gets a hole in his brain, and that's exactly what we just watched here. The harvesting of Batosai as a natural resource for the humans of the world. Like, whew, man. And yeah, behind this talent just has infinity bases and tons of units, and I don't know, man. This is not a great sight to witness.
Yeah, no, Batosai still does have a big bank. He's got a lot of gateways, so maybe he remaxes again, manages breakout, take another base, and we still could go on. I mean, PvP is certainly one of those weird matchups where, if you think about it, all of the storm energy for Talon is gone, apart from this High Templar that's going to run into cannons and die. So maybe there's still a chance for Batosai. He's still relatively even on supply. Talon still doesn't really want to break in, but the trouble is, Batosai is actually just completely well, almost completely mined out.
Wow. Well,
Look at the map vision for Talon as well. He sees every other base.
yeah, and this is correct. This is extremely correct by him, because there's always, like, the one way you lose the game is by your opponent like sneaking out and getting a proxy base, or some weird expand or tech or something. Here we go. We're trying to break out again. Lots of storms, but a total wall of Archons being built outside of Batosai's base. Talent just keeps rallying and rallying and rallying, and it all goes from bad to worse. Batosai using the last vestiges of his army and his resources to try to break out. Maybe it might look good for a second, and then you realize the Talon has 18,000 bases.
Yeah, I mean, Batosai's still doing a relatively good job with the engagements, but there's always just a few too many units here for Talon, and part of that harks back to the fact he spent so much money on so many cannons. Now, it's not often that the player who doesn't go for the early expansion gets an economic advantage, but that's certainly something that he had earlier. Now, Batosai's actually done a relatively good job keeping Talent not mining in his main and his natural, but that means his bases aren't mined out, and if you look, he's got 3 other bases, so there's only so much like economic damage you can do when it actually just doesn't matter anymore. And I think that's hitting it. I do hate to be like a killjoy, but this game is definitely over.
I just want to point out that in another episode of Kix Literally Killing Esports, he could have fast-forwarded this game at any point in time, but chose not to. So, thanks, Kix. You forced us. No. I'm trying to joke around and be a little bit funny. I don't mean to like BM these guys or anything. Obviously, they're out here playing in a tournament, and sometimes you're just gonna have rough games like this. And as observers, we can look at their decisions and say, okay, well, this just wasn't smart. But in game, everybody's got a strat, and a lot of people watching have had very bad games, much worse than what we're seeing. To Batosai's credit, he has found a way to break out.
Yep.
Unfortunately, now he is the one that will be broken after attacking into a much larger concave of a player that has like 3 times his number of bases.
Yeah, and that's not a fight you can win. Ironically, the temples never actually went down. GG! Batosai taps out and Talon takes game number 2.
He sure does, Kix. Wow, and what a game he does take there. 23 minutes! PvP, what a strange and wonderful world we live in. This is why shows like Planet Earth and, Discovery Channel exist, to find games like these.
Now, like, I know I'm just kind of piggybacking off what you said before. When you're actually looking at that game, the decisions may look weird, but when you think about it, there was no real other decision for either of the players. They just played out how they had to. Like, I know it's not super interesting. You didn't have lots of back and forth. There was so many cannons. There was no real harassment on one side. On the other side, the harassment didn't really do too much because Talon did a really good job moving all his probes away all the time and just kind of mass expanded. Because from the early game, Batosai had very few units, and as soon as he got himself contained, the only option he had was to just stay in his base and just try and harass his way to victory. But Talon just did a good enough job holding that off for so long that he could just mass expand, and that's eventually how he won the game. But I don't necessarily think either of them tried to make that boring. I think it's just the way the game played out. There was no other option for either of them. They just kind of had to play it the way they could, and unfortunately that was just how it ended up.
Well, I mean, there's only so many things that we can say about that game as analysis Kick. So I think the best thing that we can do is move on to the next game after a short break.
Yeah, see you guys in just a sec. Okay guys, and welcome back to the STPL. We just watched a very long PvP between Matosai and Talent, where Talent tied us up 1-1 in this series. So, sorry, I really need to stop reading chat while this is going on, because they're talking about Bakadu and being a weeb, but yeah, I'm pretty weeby, but that's fine. We're going into our next game here. It's going to be a TVT. So we could have another long one on our hands. It depends on how this goes. TBT is certainly one of those other matchups which will either end really quickly or end really slowly. So let's have a look at our two players here. Starting us off for NaS is going to be Terra. Now he is the Peruvian powerhouse himself. He's done incredibly well throughout the STPL so far. He's actually 3-1 against Terran. And overall, he has a 75% win ratio.
75% is huge, but let's keep an eye on the players that he has lost against. And I think that is what is most surprising to me, because he's lost against like Iris, not the Iris, but Iris, Future, and Yeti, and that all just makes total sense. So he's actually only losing against like the top players. So it's a classic case of come at the king, you best not miss. Terra is absolutely one of the best players outside of Korea, and I think you're starting to see why just by the players that he's won against, lost against.
Yeah.
His opponent is no slouch either. Kryok, got a chance to hang out with him at the 20th anniversary StarCraft LAN in Russia, and really excited to see this game, which I guess should be the key matchup, I guess.
Yeah, this is definitely two of the best players for their respective teams here. They're going to be moving on to our third map here. It's Holyworld SE. Now, I actually played a load of TBT on this map with Radley, weirdly enough, a couple of months ago before round 4 started, just to kind of test out how the map would play out. We've not had a TBT here as of yet in terms of the actual main tournament, but the games I played back then were really fun. It has the chance of going really long on this map. There's obviously a lot of gas spaces. They're very easy to defend as well. And while the middle is kind of a dangerous place in TBT because there's no real walls or anything you can hug, and obviously if you let your opponent get to the cliffs outside of your base, you're in a lot of trouble. There's definitely ways you can split this map in really interesting ways with dropships. So without further ado, let's get into game number 3. It's Terra versus Kryok. Okay, starting us off here in the top right-hand position, we do have the purple Terran fighting for red. It's Kryok.
That's right, and his opponent on the other side of the map in the orange is Terror. Of course, the Terran player from Peru. You can watch his stream at Terran on Twitch. And it actually does stream pretty often. And he does interact quite a bit, speaks English and Spanish, so no matter which language you speak, you can go over there. And yeah, highly recommend checking it out. He is a badass. But not to take anything away from Kryok, it's just that I think he doesn't stream quite as much, and I'm a little bit less familiar with him. This is going to be a TBT of very good players, so should be maybe a little bit of an antithesis of what we saw in that last game.
Now we've got an 8 racks coming in from Kryok. It's going to be in the direct center of the map, next to the neutral command center. So that's certainly something to watch out for. 8 racks is one of those things in TBT where, unlike in TVZ, where 8 racks is kind of like, well, you're kind of guaranteed to do damage. 8 racks in TBT works a little differently. Now, I know you said it'd be the antithesis of the previous game we just saw. But ironically with TBT, the better both players get, the quicker the games seem to go, because obviously there's more chance of doing more damage early on, and obviously depending on what builds they choose, things should go a bit differently. Luckily enough for Terra, he's not going for a 14cc, so he's not going to get 8 racks to death to start with, but the barracks is in a position where he can fly it off pretty quickly. So is he actually going to get any Marines? Because he's definitely going to need them. He's going to gas, so he's going to go for a factory behind this.
Yeah, the factory follow-up, not to kind of contradict you is the kind of what I look for to see, okay, well, how committed is this? Because a lot of people just think, oh, 8 racks, well, that's cheesing. It's like, well, I mean, yeah, technically, but it's not like it's going to guaranteed just like walk over the other player. It's not like, a proxy DT build against a guy going for no detection. It's you do actually have to build them up, surprise your opponent, and it is going to be a surprise until now when Terra walks into the base and sees no barracks.
Yeah, it is just a little bit too late. Obviously, Marines don't do too much, so he's waited until he's got 2 Marines out. This is going to make them a lot stronger against the SCVs of his opponent. Now, the good thing for Terra is he's building his factory quite far back, but there's a bunker coming up on his high ground. And when that finishes, that's going to be really hard to break out, so Terra's going to have to do something, going to have to make something happen. As you can see, the 2 Marines coming down the ramp, and if he tries to chase them, they're just going to get in the bunker.
Yeah, this is like a really nice construction here. I like that he built the first bunker so far forward. That might be a little bit greedy, but he didn't get scouted. There's nothing there, and so now he can do this cute little control where he walks into the base, out of the base. He has more Marines now, right? He's got 3. So I think he could try to push a little bit more aggressively, but I guess he doesn't want to, totally, do anything crazy here. I love the proxy factory too. That is like really committing to this.
Have you seen where Terra's SCV is and where he's building a factory? We've got proxy factory against proxy factory, so it's 2 factories.
Yeah, this is crazy.
On one side, one is going to be able to build tanks and defend the ramp, and the other one is most certainly going to be for vultures. Now, if vultures get into the main, when you proxy all of your buildings, there's one thing that we've learned the hard way, and I've seen countless times in Pro League TVTs. All of a sudden, you have no units back at home. And that's exactly what's going to happen if Cryok's not careful.
I wanted to land the barracks and build units inside of Cryok's base. Like, obviously that'd be terrible, but I just want to see it because this game is getting terrible, if you will. I just hope that we get a chance to see one player die a horrific death for our amusement here, Kix. That's what Brood War is all about.
Yeah, and also I see there's a little bit of heresy in the chat going on, talking about the maps. Oh, we're not going to go into that one, but that's heresy. Just saying. But Armory coming up here for Cryok, back at home, obviously. That's going to allow him to go for Goliaths, because he's expecting some kind of Wraith follow-up. But the trouble is, he's not going to expect a Vulture outside of his base. And here we go, the Vulture going to be moving in, going to be able to take down almost infinity SCVs. But Cryok's SCV almost taking down Terras, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, but the big thing is that finally we are going to start to see the siege tank out. Does he? Yeah, I guess the siege mode is only halfway done.
Oh, he's going to get the Vulture! No, he's not. Oh, yes, he is.
No, he's not. Oh, is he? Oh my god. Well, there's still one more Vulture to worry about.
There's going to be a lot more Vultures than that, but we see the SCV has in fact scouted the factory. It's not going to be able to do anything. It's not like he can kill it. He's going to have to be forced to pull all of his units down. Now, there is a tank on the high ground, did try and take down the factory of Terra, but couldn't quite get there, so all of the SCVs are being transferred now over to his opponent's natural, and he is going to try and make this work with one final push, but he's going to be up against 3 tanks with siege mode. Maybe, in like some weird way, he can lift his command center up and fly it all the way over to the other side of the map, but that's going to take a very long time. Oh, he gets 1 tank for free though, and that's going to be another 2 dead tanks if he's not careful. Oh, but the tanks here, the better end of the deal on the other side of the map. So yeah, looks like
I think Terra's got this.
Yeah,
he killed like so many SCVs on the other side of the map too, and he's got total impunity inside the base. Like he could honestly like just research mines or something right now. I don't know. He's just in such a great spot. I mean, high ground versus low ground is never a fight you want to fight, but more versus less is always good. GG, that's it. Cryok taps out. Terror. What a wacky game, Kix. But damn, Terror's so good.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly the complete antithesis of the previous game, if I'm remembering what that word actually means.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, we went from a 20-minute, nothing really happening PvP to a TVT with everything happening within the case of like 6 minutes. So, 6-minute curse strikes again. And, yeah, there we go. That's going to take us to game 4.
I can see my camera. Can you see my camera, Kix?
No.
Okay, it says it's just spinning for you, but it's
Yeah,
actually there
it's
for me.
working
So
now.
maybe that'll fix it. I don't know.
Yeah, that
Okay,
fixed it.
sick.
We're all good. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Nice.
That's definitely happened before. I think it happens when you can't quite load the camera for something. But either way, I think it's probably a good idea to get in a game 4 straight away. So I've posted up
I'm
the
down.
replay. That was a really quick game, obviously. So we're going to be heading into Dragon. It's Dragon versus Horatoss. So this should be kind of cool. It's going to be a ZVP, and it's going to be here on New Bloody Ridge. So let me just quickly that. Let's introduce both our first couple of players, and then we can get into the main event. So, starting us off here for NaS, it's going to be their captain. It's Dragon.
Okay, Dragon, I think at least for me, is a player that I got a chance to watch play in BSL last week. He played against Nyoken. Unfortunately, Nyoken did lose, but fortunately for Dragon, he's going to advance. He plays against Bonnet next weekend, and Dragon really did showcase a pretty complete understanding of PBT. So I'm just excited to watch him play more. He's from Canada. He's got a sick win ratio. He's a great player. All things that should make you love him.
Yep, and his opponent going to be Horatoss for Red Nil. Horatoss hasn't played that many games, 4 games overall. The only win he got was up against Ashes Hit 'em Up. He lost against Arcneon in the only PvZ he's played, so looks like we are going to have to see how that's going to go as we get in to game number 3. Game number 4 even. It's going to be here on New Bloody Ridge. Now New Bloody Ridge, the 2-player map of the pool for this week. 2 corners, top right, bottom left. There are those ridges in the middle. You have that double base in the middle as well, which I don't think I've ever actually seen taken in any matchup because it's so unbelievably difficult to hold, but that does have double gas. And you do have the bases in the top left and bottom right, and relatively easy to take thirds, either the one just outside your base or just a little bit further away, depending on how you want to posture yourself on the map. So, let's get into game number 4. It's Dragon versus Horatoss. It's a ZVP, and it's here on New Bloody Ridge. Okay, so starting us off here in the 2 o'clock position, we do have the yellow Protoss fighting, sorry, the yellow Zerg fighting for NaS. It's Dragon.
That's right, Kix. And his opponent on the other side of the map is Horatoss. That's about the only thing I could say about Horatoss. Apparently, he also did win the FBW Fantasy Tournament. I'm not sure if that's like really a claim to fame, but go for it, man. You do you. And here he is doing him on in front of about 100 people watching.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, Dragon, obviously a master of PvZ. I'd say PvZ is probably his best matchup, and that also helps him here when he off-races Zerg against Protoss. So, Dragon's certainly a strong character. I've said this many times before, but when you kind of off-race your mirror, so you don't have to play the mirror, you have a little bit of an advantage in a way because you know exactly what makes your race tick and what makes it really annoying to play against. And Dragon just seems to do that every time. Like every ZVP, he plays the most frustrating style of Zerg to ever go against as Protoss. So let's see if he's going to do that again. He's going to open with I think that was an 11 pool or a 9 pool. I didn't quite get it. It's an overpool, sorry. There is that.
Yeah, Overpool is just like the go-to ZVP build. If you want to learn one build versus Protoss, just do this one. Or 4-pool every game. You know, you could be that guy. Yeah, Overpool gets you a safe amount of drones and lings out fast enough to defend against things like forward gateways or anything like that.
Yeah, now it looks like we are going to have that Forge Fast Expand coming in for Horatoss. Let's hope that he does build enough cannons so we don't get a 4-minute game because they don't wall off or they don't build enough cannons and like the Zerg just builds a million Zerglings. But we are going to have that hatchery coming up here for Dragon, so that that kind of leads us into a sort of a little bit of a longer game here. It's not going to be a super fast ling all in or anything, although it could be, but there's no gas yet, so speed will be a long way off, and you kind of need that speed to make that work.
Yeah, that's the big tell, at least for us as viewers or observers, is their speed on the way? And because we don't see that, we know that probably we're going to see maybe a third hatchery come down here pretty soon, especially because that probe has been killed off. And so that means you can do a lot of cool things as Zerg, because your opponent doesn't know where you're spending your resources, your larva, and that means that they have to... It's a big, scary world for Dragon right now. It's like, well, how dangerous is it? And it's so dangerous that he's going double cannon before Nexus.
Yeah, double cannon before Nexus, that's kind of playing a little bit too safe, but then when you look at the Lings, like just running straight across the map, it's actually going to work out for him. He's not going to die to Lings jumping on his one cannon, and that's good for us. Obviously, we've had a couple of games in a row that have been a little bit weird, so this is looking a lot more normal. That third hatchery coming up as the third base, very normal to see this on New Bloody Ridge. The bases are so unbelievably close together, and there's no real, hey, I build my base here so I kill you really quickly kind of thing for Hydra builds. So he's going to go with the safe third here, no forward third in like the middle base or something. But I'm not really sure what else to say. I mean, we've got gas coming up back at home, the Nexus about to finish up here as well for Horothos. And things are just looking perfectly normal.
Yeah, one thing that's not looking perfectly normal is the scoreboard. It still says 1-1. So just to correct everybody, this is game number 4 with NaS up 2-1 over Red, right?
Yeah, so NaS are up 2-1 over Red, and yeah, because Talent won game 2 against Petorsai, and obviously we just saw Terra take down Cryok, so I'm just going to quickly update that, and then we should be good to go again. So good, by the power of technology, I'll have it fixed in just a moment.
Fixed by kicks. Nice. Another thing that's going to be fixed is the probe. No more scouting in Horotos's base. You know, as I say that, it's just going to turn around and run back in because it's like, okay, well, I'm a probe. I can just do these things. It's like 5 minutes and the probe's just chilling. So sick. Great race there. I'm just a little bit salty watching probes do whatever they want. Sees the lair, and that's big and exciting, but he hasn't seen the third base yet, I don't think.
Yeah, seeing the third base though isn't too important at this point. He knows by the timing of the lair that it's not going to be a super quick 2-hatch lair, and there's no additional gas coming up here either, so I mean, he's not going to really be that worried about everything going on, but obviously he does still need to be careful. He can't play too complacent. The Overlord obviously going to be sat in the main, seeing everything that's going on now. It's actually going to be a Citadel before a Stargate here, so we're going to see very, very quick Dark Templar. And that could be a thorn in Dragon's side if he's not prepared for it. But he's already got Overlords in relatively good positions to deal with this. So 4th hatchery coming up, 5th hatchery should be on the way shortly after. And a Spire before a Hydra Den. They're really making use of the fact there's no Stargate.
All right, well, Spire, I really like this because he's seen such a heavy like ground commitment. So I think the only thing that he has to worry about is that well, first of all, keep in mind we still don't know exactly what to expect, but I love Muta builds versus Protoss. I think that a lot of times the conventional wisdom is that if Protoss are going Corsairs and you're going for Mutas, you're going to lose that fight, right?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of times you can overcome that if you either A, keep building Mutas, B, spread the Mutas, or C, build enough Scourge to force the Corsairs to run or at least get off your first few Muta volleys. I don't know. It's an interesting concept, but I think we're starting to see more and more Muta play versus Protoss these days. Not that you should expect that at any point.
No, it's kind of something that I think that Effort is starting to try out a lot on his stream, and I think it's kind of bubbling down because obviously Effort is just insanely good at PvZ or ZVP even, and when you actually look at the best players use Mutas against Protoss, even with like a load of Corsairs, it almost doesn't feel fair. Like they just fly in and do so much damage all the time that it gets kind of insane. But the first Overlord has been taken out by this Corsair. Gonna have to be careful. Losing this first Corsair could be absolutely diabolical here, but he's gonna pull back. Should be able to keep that alive, but Dragon moving forward a load of Lings again, looking to see if he can get any form of damage done against Horothos here.
His cannons are not up in the bases either, so the Scourge can actually camp the Stargate, right? Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
and he
wow, he
gets
gets
it.
it. Nice. Well, if you're gonna go mutas, like we saw right there, and I love the TT. If you're gonna go mutas, killing the first Corsair is so important. And Dragon smiles, and I think he should because he,
He's building 9 mutas at the
yeah,
time, I think. So, oh no,
he's got
one of them's a
9
drone.
mutas, but this is 5 hatch muta. This is like, I don't know if this is really a build. Maybe it used to be a million years ago, but certainly not one that I see very often anymore. He actually is so out of money that he
It's
can't
actually
even
6
build any more
hatcheries.
mutas.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
6
is it really? Oh my
hatcheries.
god.
Yeah, he's got
Damn.
3 hatcheries at his third base, and I mean, there's a drone going down to this bottom right, so he is hatchery man right now. Zealots moving in, and this is one of those funny things with ZVP. You think, hey, Zealots, they die to mutas, they can't attack, right? But then Zealots just take forever to die, so they're going to be able to run back, obviously going to take a lot of damage, could lose most of them, but the important thing is, he's scoured that the mutas are on the way, and we should see more cannons coming up, more Corsairs on the way. And even a second Stargate would actually be a good decision here.
You know, I actually think the better play would be to go for Archons. Because I think at this point there's so many Scourge in the air that you could build as many Corsairs as you want, and I think you'd still be in a little bit of trouble. Because especially if you don't clump your mutas, you can actually do pretty well against Corsairs.
Yeah, fair point.
He also
Something
doesn't have
to
+1 air weapons either.
Yeah,
no +1 air, so that means that's another tick in the favor of the mutas.
you know, obviously you're still building constant Corsairs. You kind of need to in this situation, but the Archon's going to help out a lot. Just look at the amount of Scourge the Dragon actually has, though. Just outside of Horatos's base, he knows exactly how to deal with Protoss here, and he's probably died to this before, so he's probably just replicating that. But here we go. Looks like he is going to push in, jump on top of the cannons. The Scourge getting the first couple of Corsairs coming here. And the Archon can't even get over to the mutas right now.
Yeah, the Archon's stuck. He can't get back there. Oh my god, it's such a tragedy. And Dragon didn't run his probes, so the Archon's gonna get one hit off. So it's a big hit, but at the same time, like, that's devastating damage in the main.
Oh, this is so funny. The Archons just can't get through this base right now. They're struggling so much. And yeah, the mutas get away. They do take a little bit of damage, but look at that. The Archons finally get out of the base. And now he's coming back in. How do you deal with this?
Oh my god. Yo, this is crazy. Archons just suck against this play. I honestly think the best thing you can do against mutas is not even Corsairs, but just Zealots. Just run +1 speed Zealots across the map until infinity and beyond. And obviously this is a little bit late to do it, but they're still pretty good against Hydras too.
Yeah, but he needs Storm. He needs some Archons up here as well. Storm would actually be pretty good against the Mutalisks. Here we go. The Archon's going to come up here as well. This is going to be very difficult for the Mutas to come back and defend this. But the Hydras, there's so many of them. And they take down the Archons.
They take down the Archons. They died to them, or they died just in the end in general. Man, I think Dragon's just kind of doing a wonderful, wonderful job here. Also, I will point out that Dragon does race pick in the mirror matchup. So we were hyping him up as a good Protoss player, just in case you were wondering. Saw somebody have a question about that. But in general, yes, this is actually pretty incredible to watch Dragon have such mastery of races that are not his own. And then this is a really weird build, right? And so sometimes it takes race pickers to do these weird builds, which of course they do for our enjoyment. I'm enjoying this a lot, Kicks. This is a really cool strat to see.
And just a huge thank to Big Blue Blitz for the 2-month resub, tier 1. Huge thanks, man. Does mean a hell of a lot. And here we go. The Mio's actually going to come in to the main. There's a lot of cannons here. Huge thank you as well to Lost Boss 4 with the Twitch Prime sub as well. I mean, there's 2 High Templar here that just got built, and they're immediately getting focused down. Dragon's throwing all his Mutas to do this, but with no Storm, there's a lot of Hydras outside this base now.
Yep, I was gonna say, guys, if you could stop donating during big team fights, that would actually really help out. No, I'm just kidding. Big thanks for the subs, but this is gonna do it, right? I mean, it's such a huge deal to have High Templar with Storms. That's the only thing that you have against massive amounts of Hydralisks. And thankfully, there is one High Templar. But what is this, Kicks? A Dark Templar and another Dark Templar morphed into a Dark Archon.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah. Oh, and he's getting...
I saved it there at the end.
Is that feedback? I think that's feedback, right? The upgrade. So, yeah, feedback coming in. That's obviously going to allow him to deal with Defilers? So
I don't know why there's feedback coming in. That's a big question there, Kix. But obviously Maelstrom is what you want the Archon for, so you can get perfect storms underneath.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe that is Maelstrom. It's just we barely see Dark Archon, so it's really hard to tell what the upgrades are by the pictures. So, yeah. So, let's see exactly what this is going to be. I mean, there's so many lurkers being morphed in here by Dragon. He knows exactly how to play against Protoss. He's got the fourth base coming up in the bottom right. His economy is booming right now. He has a bajillion drones, or all of his bases. That's kind of a really cool number. But it looks like we're going to see the Dark Archon move out here. Don't die, Dark Archon.
Yeah, it is Maelstrom, by the way.
Oh, okay.
They come with feedback by default. I don't know why I didn't know that, but these are some pretty good storms out here. So already, there's a nice Maelstrom. Where's the storm? You got a storm on top of it. Damn, really good. And it hits the lurker behind it as well. So
yep.
really, really well done there. But I mean, that's your thing, right? You built this Archon, and that's it.
Yeah.
Sick. Also, he had to morph his High Templar in range of the lurker spikes. So
yeah, I always find that funny because it almost feels like sometimes it'd be better just to try and run the High Templar back, because then you got the chance of saving them. But I mean, yeah, that's going to be a dead High Templar. Unfortunately, Horotos in a bit of a dangerous spot right now. He's obviously going to have decent tech. He's going to eventually get another Maelstrom. I think if you Maelstrom an underground lurker, I think it unburrows it, if I remember correctly, but I can't be too sure. But once, as again, that's kind of an interaction you barely ever see. So it looks like we are going to have the Corsair flying over, going to try and take down the Scourge with it, and at least he's still got that alive. But you can just see the sheer number of units that Dragon actually has right now. It's just, it's getting out of hand.
Yeah, I mean, this is just going to be a little bit too much to deal with. He only has like 1 or 2 High Templar. Neither one of them have Storm. Okay, he's got 3, and the third one did have Storm. So it's going to kill a Lurker. No, it's not. Never mind. I was hyping that up. All right, there we go. Another Lurker. Once again, not killed. So
yeah.
Well, the Zerg player has 4 bases up and like 25 hatcheries. So at this point, I don't know, Horotos. Not looking good.
Now, the one thing, like, this is just kind of completely unrelated to this game, but one thing I've always wanted to see is just a Protoss player build like 100 High Templar, and then just do nothing but Storm. Like, is there a bot that can do this so we can see how powerful that actually is? Because obviously, like, a human player can't really control 100 High Templar, but just imagine how many Storms there are. Would there even be an army that could take that down? Here we go, looks like the Hydra is going to push in. They're going to try and go for the High Templar snipes. The few High Templar that are left, 2 of them get taken down. The Dark Archon still waiting for that energy. Now, I really wanted to get Mind Control shot over somehow and get a drone, but I don't think that's going to happen. But just imagine going like some weird hive tech against this, like going Defilers and then... Wait, Dark Swarm against this army would be sick, but there we go, Maelstrom going down, nice Storm on top of that Maelstrom, but it's just all the units behind it, they're the real problem.
Well, we're going to have another 2-base Protoss stuck in his base. We already saw what this looked like when Batosai was doing it, but this is a little bit of a different situation. So honestly, I think you just go Sauron Zerg against this. Just take every single base on the entire map. Take the middle base. It's just crazy how stuck Horotos is. Look at this lurker spread. It's perfectly spread out to avoid getting double stormed on these the lurkers. Yep. So just beautifully done. The storms, though, are really good kicks. Like, I can't overemphasize that. They are just fantastic. Just look at this. It's energy for units, man. It's free real estate.
It is, but free real estate, eventually it gets taken back by the government. And here we go, looks like we are going to have the Dragoons pushing forward once again, get another couple of lurkers, only lose a single Dragoon with this, but there's, oh my god, the Storms are so good. But there's just so many units.
Dude, the Zealots are on hold position. You gotta use those, my dude. Yeah, so, yeah, using the Zealots to push the Hydras back. A tale as old as time. But these are lurkers, and they will kill all the Zealots, and then the game will end. So, that sucks.
Yep. That certainly does. It looks like the units have been broken through. There's still the Dark Archon back here, the hero Dark Archon that's made this hold possible for as long as it has done. But just Dragon's macro as well. He's got so many drones at every single base. Look at the bottom right base. Imagine if there was a Shotland Storm over there. That would be a drone barbecue right there. But there's just no recourse. There's no possible way for Horitos to ever get out of his base, and Dragon is actually just expanding on the high ground next to him.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the BM based, right? He's just taking every single base in the game. There's a bunch more pylons and gateways coming up in the back of, excuse me, of Horror's base, but I don't know how well that's gonna work. Kicks.
Yeah, it's not too great. We got the Archon going down at the front. There's very little Storm Energy left. I think there's only one High Templar without Storm Energy. There is going to be another Maelstrom, but there's no follow-up. And ironically, the few Hydras that haven't been Maelstromed are just killing all of the Dragoons right now. Upgrade-wise, it's actually 2-0 against 2-0, but without any armor upgrades. I mean, Horitos is really struggling. I don't want this Dark Archon to die, but it's going to go down in a second. There's absolutely nothing he can do. 3 High Templar popped out, all of them going down. GG! The Natural's broken, and NaS take the series 3-1.
And well deserved it is. I think honestly that game specifically, and maybe the other games before it, but that game specifically really did kind of showcase, excuse me, that NaS is the superior team. Well deserved of their second place spot in STPL this round, and I think you're going to start to see a lot more of that strong competitive play in the next few weeks. Before we hit the finals, where I am expecting great things from NaS, unless they start to fall off right before finals, which would be a little bit tragic.
Yeah, so just to quickly have a look at the results, just to take us through the end of that series. This is actually going to put Red, or NaS for the time being, in the top spot of Group A, leading into IRK's game. So we'll have to see how IRK plays. Maybe they can keep hold of their top spot, but if not, NaS will be taking it into the final week. But here we go, Eonzerg taking down Fisheye, Talon pulling it back.
Time Pro League is the best.
Huge thank you, Braino Jack, for the 2-month resub. Means a lot. We've got Terra taking down Cryok on Holy World in a very, very weird TBT. And then Dragon taking down Horitos, doing exactly what I said he would do, and just playing the most frustrating style possible, and just continuing to make it work. Like that. Just the way he was spreading all of his lurkers, he made it impossible to ever storm 2 of them at once. And he just made it near impossible to actually break out this base. He had units, he had vision absolutely everywhere. And you can't beat that when you get stuck on 2 bases. Horitos tried his best, but Dragon with the overall better play there in game at number 4.
Well, that's going to do it. GG, congratulations to NaS. And that's going to do it for our first series. So we are going to take a break for a few minutes and then come back with DM versus Valhalla team. It's our second best of 5 of the night. So don't go anywhere.
See you guys very soon.